Hi, what's up guys? This is Mobile Network Comparison and welcome to the final instalment of this series. Our good friend Scotty Ledoux from the Fortress of Nerditude just rounded his half of the picks off with a fantastic piece about Microsoft's search for a new CEO. We've really enjoyed working with him on this, and if you haven't seen the other videos in this countdown, we'd really encourage you to go back and check them out on both of our channels. But for now, it's time for a big drum roll as we reveal the number one story in our countdown of the top 10 tech stories of 2013. Linking in with Ballmer's retirement, we're looking at Microsoft's purchase of Nokia's mobile phones division last year. It wasn't a complete surprise to everyone, but this news shook up the entire business world and is sure to play a huge role in shaping the future of smartphones and mobile tech in general. Nokia may have been in the business since the 70s and produced the first handheld mobile phone ever, but soon after the first smartphones came out, they've been in decline. The Finnish company were the world's biggest handset manufacturer for 14 years, but in 2012, Samsung emphatically replaced them and took the crown. Despite a massive marketing budget and lucrative royalty sharing deals, their Windows Phone mobiles make up fewer than 5% of smartphones sold, and Nokia have forced through a massive savings strategy. But even with 15,000 redundancies, they have been hemorrhaging cash recently, and their revenues crashed from over 7 billion euros to just under 3 billion euros in the second quarter of 2013. As a result, Nokia had been all but written off, until September last year, when Microsoft announced they would be acquiring the whole company in a massive £4.6 billion deal. That's about $7.2 billion. Microsoft also agreed to invest an additional 1.5 billion euros in financing to help the Finnish company's cash flow woes. It's been an industry open secret that, unlike rival manufacturers, Nokia chose not to partner with Android when it first came out, as they feared they would not survive the competition of Google's open market. Instead, their plan was to join Microsoft and aim to control a whole vertical, with their phones being manufactured from Nokia components rather than from off-the-shelf parts. But nobody predicted they would end up being owned by Microsoft. This drastically changes the landscape of the entire smartphone market. Now, there are really only three big players left: Apple's iOS, Google's Android, and Microsoft's Windows Phone. Previously, BlackBerry had also been in the running, but with Microsoft choosing Nokia over them, it's hard to see a place for them in the future of smartphones, especially since, as we discussed in video number 5 in this countdown, their revenues have plummeted in recent years and they've got myriad internal issues to deal with. However, some have seen a conspiracy in the demise of Nokia. Stephen Elop was the head of Microsoft's business division for 2.5 years before he took over as Nokia CEO back in September 2010. This was the first time that Nokia had ever had a non-Finnish director, and he received a $6 million golden handshake. His reign at Nokia was fraught with controversy. It was under his leadership that Nokia's internally developed operating systems, such as Symbian and MeeGo, were axed in favour of Microsoft's operating system. He also derided the company in public statements, and some just basically suspected him to be a Trojan horse-style saboteur, destroying them from the inside. The fact that Nokia's market cap has plummeted over the last few years has meant that it's ripe for the picking, and Microsoft were able to snatch up a bargain compared to previously. There are rumours that Microsoft would try to buy Nokia ever since Elop was appointed, and as part of the deal he's now going to return to Microsoft as head of their devices team. But could he really have been a plant devised to produce a preferential price for Microsoft? Let us know your thoughts about that. Anyway, regardless, this acquisition will be remembered as a major event in the history of mobile phones. To be honest, Microsoft have been struggling to keep up as a technology company in the age of mobile, and if they want to salvage any of the success they've retained since the 90s, it's in many ways an entirely necessary gamble to spend this amount of money on Nokia. Still, the duopoly of Android and iOS seems incredibly solid at the moment. It's really hard to see how they can chip away at their market share. But it is clear that Microsoft are willing to spend and do whatever it takes to have a chance to be one of the major players in this business. So far, this strategy has been failing, so it's hard to see how ploughing even more money can make a drastic difference. But it certainly is going to make things much more interesting for the next few years, and it can surely only be good for consumers to have more competition and innovation. So that was our number one tech story from last year. Thanks very much for watching, and please stay tuned for more videos, phone reviews, ROM installs, and of course, full details of our exciting giveaway coming soon. Keep your eyes peeled. Bye!